And with that, I'd like to turn it over to President Sullivan of the University of St. Thomas.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucia, and thank you, President Hensrud. St. Thomas is thrilled to be joining the CCHA. As I was saying earlier, it's thrilling to be a part of building something. And it's even more thrilling to be a part of building something when there's alignment. When there's alignment among the leadership and there's alignment among the members in terms of our values and our aspirations. We feel strongly that we have that with the CCHA. We feel that we're joining a league that the leaders, from the commissioner to all of the presidents and ADs of the members, are pursuing excellence, pursuing comprehensive excellence, excellence in athletics, and excellence in academics. We are also thrilled to be joining a league with universities that have such deep and successful hockey traditions. I have no doubt that this will be a very, very successful league, and that each one of the members will make the other members better by the quality of the rivalries and the competition. I'm really delighted also with the geographic footprint of the region. Clearly, we are delighted to have 2 colleagues from Minnesota as a part of the conference, and I congratulate President Hensrud on her new position as the president of the board of directors. But we also are delighted to get to know a number of additional teams in Michigan. And I serve on the board of directors of TCF Bank, which is headquartered in Detroit, Michigan. Travel to Michigan quite frequently, have gotten to know the communities there better, and really look forward to understanding the sports traditions in Michigan and developing some fun rivalries there as well. So again, I add my thanks, and we look forward to launching one of the strongest hockey conferences in America in another year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Sullivan. I appreciate first your leadership, and I want to acknowledge your vision and your leadership throughout this entire process. We certainly wouldn't be where we are today. As I mentioned this morning with another group, it's taken a lot of courage and vision to make progress towards this goal. And between President Sullivan and our board of trustees, chair of the board of trustees, Pat Ryan, and many others supporting progress towards this goal, we certainly wouldn't be here today without, again, that courage and vision and leadership. And so I want to acknowledge and thank you for that. President Hensrud and all of the CCHA presidents, I do also want to extend my gratitude for your confidence in St. Thomas, as well as the opportunity to join the conference and the league as an inaugural member in 21-22. As President Sullivan mentioned, it's really exciting to be part of building something, and to be able to come into the league at this time is something that was really, really appealing to us. Forrest, to you and your staff at Northern Michigan, I appreciate your support in pulling all of this together, and certainly hosting the press conference, but also in wrangling all of us together to put together the press release and all of the other details that went into making today successful. And of course, this would not have come together without Commissioner Lucia. Don, you and I have known each other for a while. I look forward to working with you, but I can tell you over the last month, have been really impressed with how you've really pushed forward with this. You certainly have a vision for what this conference can be. The vision happens to align with our expectations around competitive excellence as well. And so I look forward to working with you, Don, as well as the others in the CCHA as we move forward. I'll say this, and then, I want to keep my comments brief as well. The CCHA really is a perfect fit for St. Thomas. As President Sullivan mentioned, it offers opportunities for us to build regional rivalries in the state, new rivalries in the state of Michigan and Ohio, and really line up against, compete against, and hopefully compete with, eventually at some point, some of the most historic hockey brands in college hockey. And that's what this is, part of what this is all about for us. I will say that we're entering this with our eyes wide open, understand that it's a journey, certainly understand that this is a building process for us. But I also believe that if we do this right, we can build a competitive program and be really a value-added member in the league, one that's aspiring to be among the very best in the country. So again, we're very appreciative for the opportunity. Look forward to working with our colleagues across the conference with Commissioner Lucia as we lead up to the inaugural year of the CCHA. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Phil. Thank you, everyone. With that, we will now open it up for questions. So again, just please use the chat feature to request a question, and we will introduce you from there to ask. Patrick Borzy, go ahead and ask your questions.
Thank you. I've got one question for Don and one question for Phil, and I'll start with Phil. Looking at travel in this league, I mean, obviously you can bus to the two Minnesota schools in Northern Michigan and then Michigan Tech. Are you going to have to fly to the other ones?
Yeah, Pat, you know, we're taking a look at that. Certainly Bowling Green and Ferris State may be on the fringe of whether or not busing is possible. I think there's some creative ways to get to some of those places too, whether you fly in the front end and bus back on the back end or vice versa. The other thing that, you know, we certainly are talking about with the commissioner is what the schedule looks like long-term. And Don, I don't know if that's something ultimately you would want to comment on, but, you know, certainly protecting long-term some of those in-state rivalries and busable games. And, you know, the other thing, Pat, that I'll say is that I think we've got an opportunity to build eventually over time a pretty nice non-conference schedule that offers some of the geographic opportunities that you're kind of alluding to as well.
Okay, and Don, the question I had for you is most, if not all, of the schools in this conference over the last 10 years have significantly upgraded their facilities and their commitment to hockey. I mean, obviously St. Thomas hasn't spent anywhere near as much on hockey as these other schools playing in D3. How quickly do you need them to rise up with their fundraising to match some of the facilities and the commitment of your other members?
Well, I think you're accurate in your assessment that that's one of the reasons the other 7 members broke away, because of their commitment to their Division I hockey program. They want to compete at the highest level and compete at the NCAA and get to Frozen Fours and ultimately try to win a national championship. There's no question in my mind that University of St. Thomas has the same vision. And this has gone on quickly for them in the past year. They just found out July, I believe, 15th that they were going to be a Division I member. We moved quickly to get them at the Division I into our CCHA conference, but I have a lot of faith. I've been on St. Thomas's campus from back in the late 70s when I had some of my friends went to the University of St. Thomas. I was there just a couple of years ago for a fundraising activity for the St. Paul Seminary. And so I'm very familiar with their campus and their commitment. And the one thing I know about University of St. Thomas is that they don't do anything unless they do it first class. And their move to Division I, even though it may take a few years to build the type of facilities and add to their portfolio at the Division I level, that they will do it. They have the leadership. They're well connected within the Twin Cities with fundraising capabilities. So much like anything, we're investing in University of St. Thomas as a league, and there's no question in my mind that a few years from now that's going to pay off. And they just have too much going for themselves, and it's a great place to go to school, go to college, and have an opportunity to play athletics. And what a great market! So another option for many players from the state of Minnesota, and I think even from the rest of the CCHA, it continues to give the rest of the members opportunities to recruit more heavily in the state of Minnesota as well.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, Randy from the Star Tribune has a question.
Yeah, it's for Phil Elston. Phil, last year when the 7 members of the WCHA broke away, did that pique your interest right away for St. Thomas joining up with those schools?
I think so, Randy. You know, as we took a look at the landscape, you know, remember a year ago right now, we did not yet have the approval or really even, but we started to have a sense that there might be a path forward to reclassify to Division I. And so, you know, we were looking at Division III options, Division II options, whether or not we would have the ability to compete in Division I hockey if we were to reclassify to Division II. And then once this Division I path was made available to us, we really did start to investigate that a little bit further. And I'll say a year ago, from my vantage point, without having had the advantage of talking to a lot of people that I've had the opportunity to speak with over the last year or so, I didn't necessarily know what the future landscape was going to look like. I think these 7 schools had a vision, and they shared that vision and had a lot of conversations with one another. Somebody who had been working with them, Morris Kurtz, is someone that I've known for a long time. Morris and I had connected early on, just as they were kind of moving through this process a little bit. So learned a little bit more about that vision. And ultimately, Randy, I think that we all came to the conclusion, President Sullivan and myself and others on campus, that this would be a really, really good fit, if not the perfect fit, moving forward.
And a follow up on the arena situation. Are there any plans to explore a new arena at this stage?
Yeah, first I'll say that the St. Thomas Academy has been a fantastic partner for the University of St. Thomas with the ice rink on their campus. And, we ventured into that partnership several years ago together, and they'll continue to serve as our home while we search for what our future options are. Certainly in our marketplace right now too, Randy, that there may be a couple of options for us to play a game or two at a different venue that may require a larger capacity than what we have at the Academy. And so, I think there are some pretty exciting opportunities for us, even in the interim, to host some pretty neat events in the Twin Cities marketplace. And then lastly, we have started to think about what that future might look like. Again, in very, very early stages of trying to think through, again, location, site, planning, renderings, capacities, and then of course the financing piece is a really important piece of that. And so very early in that process, but certainly something that's on our minds.
Thank you.
All right, Tim from the Tech Hockey Guide, go ahead.
Hey, Don, so when we were at 7 teams, we were talking about a 24-game schedule. Is the plan to stick with that or go up to 28 now that we're at 8 teams?
Well, there's been some initial dialogue, whether that is 24, 26, 28. That we'll have to continue to talk to the coaches and the athletic directors to see what their preference is. I know that, no, not everybody's going to be in agreement, whether it's 24, 26, or 28. The ability to, as Phil even touched on, for teams to be able to play numerous non-conference games. The NCHC, the Big Ten is within the footprint of all the teams. The Michigan, you get into that eastern end of the CCHA, the Atlantic opens up, because I think we've seen in the COVID age in scheduling that there probably is going to be less flying east to west and west to east than maybe that there was before. And I think you're going to start to see more regional scheduling, which I think is a benefit for our league. It will be great competition within the 3 leagues in the West. And there's a lot of opportunities for our teams to play non-conference games in very close proximity. So that's one of the nice advantages now with our 18 league and our footprint, that there's going to be a lot of busing around the league, maybe a few flights, but I think I'll be looking at doing some regional scheduling. And what I mean by that is, we've got to make sure the teams in close proximity for sure play each other 4 times. And maybe the longer trips are going to be looking at a little more often playing 2 games against somebody. So we'll do what's best for the league. We're going to do what's best for the 8 members. But they all know that, our goal is to get teams in the NCAA tournament. And we want to do everything we can to maximize our opportunities within the conference.
Thank you.
All right, again, if anyone has any questions, if you want to just utilize that chat feature. Randy, go ahead.
Yeah, it's for Don Lucia. Don, you've got eight teams now. Is the CCHA looking to get bigger than 8 eventually?
Well, I would say you never say never, but at the same time, 8 is a great number. Everybody can play on the same time at the same weekend. You have an 8-team playoffs, 4 teams in the first round. So from that standpoint, the number of league games versus the number of non-conference games. So I just think we have a great number right now at 8. I think that with our footprint within the Midwest, it's exactly what we wanted. So we can sit with 8 for a long time. If there's a team out there that will make our league better, that's going to add to the CCHA, then certainly I would be open to it and present it to the rest of the body. But we're in a good situation right now. I couldn't be more excited for the CCHA members to have these 8 teams and move forward with this group of institutions.
A follow-up, you're a month into the job and you've already expanded your conference and filled that 8th spot. Do you expect every move you make to be this seamless?
Well, no, I've learned that from coaching. You can be awfully smart one day and the next day not quite as bright. But it's been a good group. And I want to thank the athletic directors and the presidents and the coaches as I've gone through these calls over the last 6 weeks, and I couldn't be more impressed with their commitment to their hockey program. That was loud and clear through the interview process, but it's even more evident now. This group wants to compete at the highest level. They want teams that are like-minded. We have found that in University of St. Thomas, and there's much to do over the next 12 months as we get ready for that first puck drop. But I just couldn't be more excited to be a part of this team with the CCHA and work with these great people.
Thank you.
All right, Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. This one's for Phil again. You mentioned on the previous call about ramping up to scholarships. Hockey is I don't need to tell you how expensive a sport hockey is. Do you feel like you'll eventually gradually get up to the full scholarship complement here, like adding X amount in a particular year until you reach the full one?
Yeah, Pat, that's frankly, it's an expectation of the league, and it's an expectation that we have of ourselves, that we give our hockey team the resources they need to be competitive. Certainly that's not going to have, as you referenced, not going to happen overnight. We do have a provisional period, and that gives us the opportunity to phase in that resource support over time. But we do expect that ultimately we'll fully fund the scholarship level, again, as expected in the league.
As you try to fundraise for this, I know you were at Penn State after the Pagulas wrote a very big check to fund 2 programs. So are you going to target a couple of specific people for major fundraising, or are you going to do it a different way?
Well, I'll make a call right now. If there's anybody out there that wants to fully fund our men's and women's hockey program, I'll be happy to talk to them as well as the facility. I mean, what Terry and Kim did at Penn State it takes a lot of vision. Obviously, it certainly helped to launch that program, and we've all seen that they benefited from that. Men's hockey has certainly built a program pretty quickly, competitive program pretty quickly, and women's isn't far behind there. And so, Pat, I think that's something we've got to sit down over time with and determine exactly how we're going to help to finance. Whether it's the facility side of it or the operational or scholarship or whatever side of it. But again, if there's 1 or 2 out there, that's the easiest way to get to the finish line.
Do we have any more questions? All right. Well, thank you all again for joining us. Special thank you to President Hensrud, President Sullivan, Phil Essen, and Commissioner Lucia. We look forward to the future with the CCHA, and welcome. If anyone has any further media requests, please reach out to myself directly. My email is kharvath, HARV like Victor, ATH, @nmu.edu, or your individual team sports information director. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Kath.